The Candidates Forum presented and produced by the League of Women Voters, Northwest Wayne County. This Candidates Forum for the this is the Candidates Forum for Canton Township Supervisor and is being recorded on September 23rd, 2020. My name is Lorelei Muniz, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters of Dearborn Heights, and am the moderator tonight. In the November election, a voter is free to vote for any candidate he or she chooses. They do not have to all be in the same party. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization. We do not support nor oppose any candidate running for office. The League does take positions on issues after careful study, so you may see our name attached to an issue that we are advocating or opposing. The League of Women Voters is where hands-on work to safeguard democracy leads to civic improvement. Membership is open to anyone at least 16 years old, and you can join through our websites. The League's main mission is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation in government. One of the ways we do this is by having forums, such as this one. The League has also prepared a nonpartisan voter guide, which can be found online at www.vote411.org. Holding a candidate forum by Zoom poses challenges different from that of an in-person forum. Only League personnel and the candidates are present at the forum, but questions were solicited from the public in advance, so we could ask them at tonight's forum. Questions were screened for clarity, and any which included personal attacks on a candidate were eliminated. The views expressed in this forum are those of the candidates and not of the League of Women Voters. And now we will get started with our forum. There are two candidates running for Canton Township Supervisor: Anne Marie Graham Hudak, a Democrat, and Patrick Williams, a Republican. The candidates have agreed to the format for tonight's forum, which is as follows. Each candidate will be allowed a 2-minute opening statement, a 1-minute response to all the questions, and a 2-minute closing statement. The order that candidates speak was determined by a random selection process witnessed by the candidates before the recording of this forum. We will rotate the order of the candidates who respond to a question first. League member Paula Bowman is our timer tonight. She will be holding up cards so that the candidates know when their time is up. The candidate must stop when the stop sign appears. Let us begin with our opening statement. Ms. Graham Hudak, can you begin, please?
Good evening. Thank you very much to the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum, and also for residents who will be watching later. I'm Anne Marie Graham Hudak, and I've held many titles throughout the years while we have become friends and worked alongside each other to move our community forward and make it a better place for all. Some of those titles include Canton Trustee, Planning Commissioner, MBA graduate, Electrical Engineer at Ford, a woman in STEM, Interfaith Leadership Team. However, my most important roles would be a hockey, lacrosse, soccer, volleyball, theater, and Girl Scout mama for and your neighbor for 25 years. Canton needs a compassionate leader with experience as voice for all residents, a forward-thinking supervisor that has the technical experience to bring 21st century jobs and technology to serve residents. As trustee, I spearheaded a strong ethics ordinance, obtained grants for recycling to reduce waste going into the landfills and save you money. I worked to improve roads and am a bridge for constituents whenever you need help. I led sessions to protect seniors against identity theft with Attorney General Dana Nessel and with our police and youth diversion programs. I brought Senator Stabenow to the table as an ally to stop unsafe track blocking in our community where she required the railroads attend the local meetings. I was honored when I found out that our police officer representatives unanimously endorsed my campaign, and I have the endorsement of many of the working men and women in organized labor on the state and in the township. I do not take campaign contributions from developers and contractors. In a world around uncertainty with the global pandemic, I will continue to put our families and public health first. To me, moving Canton forward means preserving our natural beauty, managing infrastructure and growth, while harnessing technology for tomorrow and continuing to deliver accountable government. For too long, Canton Township has looked to the past for answers. I will drive Canton into the future.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Good evening. Again, my name is Pat Williams, Canton Township Supervisor, sitting for the past 4 years. I've had the honor to live in Canton Township now for 38 years with my wife. 34 years. We spent the last 3 decades dedicating our time to community service on so many different levels. We're involved in many of the community-based organizations. We're involved with the local school district. Sat on 3 of the superintendent search committees. Myself and a couple other dads put together the program, which is the JV soccer field at the high school. Redid the locker rooms at the high school. A lot of projects over the last 3 decades. And I think what I like about this job more than anything else is the ability to actually help people in real time. And I hope to continue to do it for another 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll begin with the questions. The first question will, Mr. Williams will start. What do you think is the biggest challenge the township faces, and what is your plan to address it?
Right now, the biggest short-term issue is the pandemic. We're experiencing unprecedented times. We're getting regular updates from the CDC. The governor's executive orders come down, and with each evolution of the pandemic, we have to understand what it means to not only Canton Township's employees, our residents, but also how does it impact the services that we're trying to deliver at the level of that those who depend on us rely. Thank you.
Ms. Graham Hudak. Please go ahead and unmute you. I could read your lips, but I'll repeat the question. What do you think is the biggest challenge the township faces, and what is your plan to address it?
Well, Canton needs leadership to put families first in meeting the COVID ID challenges, this global pandemic that we're facing. Quality of life starts with protecting health. It's also important to safeguard our economic well-being, as we know. It's also important to continually reach out to communities and neighbors to ensure no one falls through the cracks. I mean, everybody should be checking on their neighbors. We should always be working with organizations that can help. A lot of the interfaith community and Salvation Army have helped us deliver food and make sure information is out there always. We should be also doing this through phone outreach, partnerships, and other faith groups and organizations that have their ear to the ground. I mean, that's the most pressing right now.
Thank you. The second question, Ms. Graham Hudak, you'll go first, is as supervisor, what are short-term and long-term goals you would like to see put in place during the next 4 years?
Well, we all know that Governor Whitmer just recently announced a mobility corridor. So that is going to be a long-term goal as technology comes through Michigan Avenue and partnerships form. So I see that as a short and long term that we start working with Governor Whitmer and the public-private corporations to form technology groups that can bring economic development, jobs, and educational partnerships here, even startups. Governor Whitmer also announced today bringing carbon neutrality to a 0 in Michigan in 2050. That means that we have to watch out for our environment, create more walkable paths, more green spaces, make sure that we look at how we can use technology to stop traffic congestion at our lights to make sure that we reduce our pollution levels and use renewable energy. So those are basically both short and long term as those were just announced, and you really need to start working now to reach those goals in 2050.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Number one short-term goal is getting through the pandemic. All the different areas that we've already discussed. Getting Wayne County to deliver on their commitments they've made to us in terms of road improvements and delivering on the road improvement programs that have been delayed because of COVID. We're trying to play catch up there. Also, immediate short term is the Leisure Services Group has done a great deal to reinvent itself, to create quality of life opportunities, to do more outdoors during this period. Now we're shifting gears to what can we do back inside as the weather turns.
Thank you. So this question, Mr. Williams will go first. The third question is, the pandemic caught almost everyone off guard. Knowing what we know now, what measures should Canton Township take to prepare for the next emergency or catastrophe?
Canton Township is very unique in terms of we're one of the few communities that has a full-time emergency manager on staff, and he dedicates himself and is actually a regional leader in terms of developing and creating plans. So we have a manual that's now been expanded to include pandemics, right? It's and we use that as the baseline when we need to put together or open up our emergency coordination center. We're ready to go. Lights on. We have processes and procedures in place to be executed. Thank you.
Ms. Graham-Hudak.
I'll repeat the question, please.
The pandemic caught almost everyone off guard. Knowing what we know now, what measures should Canton Township take to prepare for the next emergency or catastrophe?
I think we've done an okay job in preparing for this emergency. We do have a full-time manager. I believe that we should look to the future to determine how we face these issues if it happens again. One of the things is working more closely with our businesses. Another thing, we seemed a little bit off kilter when it came to determining what we could do with leisure services and being a little bit more creative faster. While people couldn't get together, we should have a backup plan to be able to put exercises outside or do some more Zoom meetings with our communities. Also outreach, that's really important. We were able to jump on that quickly. However, there were a lot of people that had a lot of information that didn't get to them as fast. So I think that we need to establish a big call out so we can take care of our community and make sure that our fire and police do have the equipment to be able to handle it. I know some of our police and fire did get sick, so we need to make sure that they have the equipment so they don't get sick next time.
Lorelei, my opponent was just a little critical of how we did things in the township, how quickly we responded. May I respond to that or no? I'm okay if the answer is no. We can move on. And if I'll cover it in another area in the future if there's an opportunity. Thank you. We can
move on.
That's fine.
Yes. So again, let me remind you that we just talk about what we plan to do and have done. Question number 4, Ms. Graham-Hudak will answer this one first. How can the township encourage new businesses, how can the township encourage new business ventures like Slow Food Truck without hurting already established businesses?
I think what we did recently with Slows was unique, and it brings economic growth and development into a community when people start moving into Cherry Hill Village. The Slows truck was put in Cherry Hill Village to try to bring people into there. I believe that it's important to be able to offer this service to any restaurant, not just Slows. And so I see that food trucks being popular among young people and middle-aged people will help to bring that forward. Whenever we do anything, it should be in mind with keeping everybody in the loop. And I think that Slows offered a service here that other restaurants didn't. And I'd like to see whenever we have food trucks, we have a lot of people attend, and then people come in, they say, hey, I didn't see Cherry Hill Village. I didn't know about this. It brings people into our community. They want to buy in our community. So I think that bringing new things in our community helps with economic development.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. How can the township encourage new business ventures like Slow Foods Truck without hurting already established businesses?
Very good. Okay, I'll answer this on 2 levels. First off is I meet with people and talk to people every day in my office in terms of coming to Canton Township to open new businesses, and there are a lot of very exciting things that are coming to Canton Township that I just can't discuss publicly until the individuals that are coming are ready to discuss it. That's number one. Number two, the Slows food truck did create a new dynamic in Canton Township. The board came together. We all agreed to put it in for a trial. Also, from the experience, I've given the direction to Director Hohenberger to sit down over the winter to come up with a policy that includes the brick and mortar restaurants to have a program that is equitable to all. Thank you.
All right, question number 5. Mr. Williams, you'll go first on this one. What have you done for the township in the past 4 years that you are most proud of?
That's easy. Anne-Marie already tackled one of them, and the biggest one that'll have a long-term impact is when we went to large bin recycling. That has radically increased the amount of materials being recycled, which is reducing the materials going into the landfill, which will in turn extend the landfill's life, which saved Canton Township residents significant money. Also, we reduced water and sewer rates. For the last 2 years in a row, overall average water sewer rates have gone down after 20 years of increases. Those are probably two of the biggest things that I'm proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Graham Hudak? Oops, I see a frozen screen. Good, you're back. Shall I repeat the question? Whoops, you're unmute yourself. What have you done for the township?
Technology.
What have you done for the township in the past 4 years that you are most proud of?
There's many things I'm proud of that we've accomplished. As trustee, I spearheaded a strong ethics ordinance. I did that because it was important that our leaders remain accountable to the public. I also did that because we've had previous trustees that have violated that, and I'm glad we put that in place. I obtained grants for recycling to reduce waste going into landfills and save taxpayers money. I work to improve roads. I'm also a bridge for constituents whenever they need help. I led sessions to protect seniors against identity theft with Attorney General Dana Nessler and with our police and youth diversion programs and opioid and suicide programs. I also brought Senator Stabenow to the table as an ally. I realized that bringing the senator in was important because the railroads operate on a federal level and she could require them attend the local meetings. And she's really interested in railroads, and she just helped along with another grant to create safety at railroad tracks. So I've done a lot of things I'm proud of. Thank you.
All right, this is the next question, number 6. And this, Ms. Graham Hudak will begin this one. How well is our community meeting the needs of seniors, and what more needs to be done?
I believe that we do a lot for seniors. I know that when I held the identity theft sessions, they were real eye openers to some of them. I would like to see more outreach to them in terms of programming like this. They were really happy about that. My one concern is about seniors in this global pandemic. I know a lot of them have been under lockdown. I personally lost my mother-in-law while she was on lockdown. It is very devastating to a family to not be able to be with the loved one. So I would like to see expanded that we have some kind of an outreach from maybe it be senior citizen to senior citizen during global pandemic times like this. Also, I would like to see some alternative modes of transportation offered for those seniors who cannot drive places by themselves. I would like to see that expanded. We currently have it, but we have limited hours and limited times. So I'd like to see that expanded to make sure our seniors can live a fruitful and long life.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Yes, thank you. This now allows me to open the door on the earlier point that I was trying to make, or going to make. Very early on in the pandemic, understanding that our seniors were shut in, I called in a group of volunteers and we called 2,400 seniors residences in Canton Township and did a check-in. And we also set up a, I guess the best way to put it is a COVID hotline, which is still in existence today, 734-394-5400. Any resident, senior or otherwise, who has needs right now in terms of food or services, they call and we will get the help or assistance to them. The good news, what I discovered was 99% or 98% of our seniors are in great shape and they've got family watching out for them. Every now and then we did find a house that needed a little support. We got them what they needed and we're continuing to provide those services today. Anne Marie may not be aware of that. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
Number 7, and this goes to you, Mr. Williams. Are the residential and commercial developers that are building in Canton contributing enough towards improving and expanding our infrastructure when they build a new development?
It was me first?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, with every new project that comes to Canton Township, as part of the process, and it's also discussed in the Planning Commission, which Anne Marie is a part of, is community benefit. Okay, you want to come, you want to make the investment in the community, which is fine. You know, you will receive significant profit because Canton is an extremely high demand community. What are you going to bring to the table in terms of needs? And we've had, in one case, a developer donate green space or basically sell it to us for less than cost. And there's been a lot of emphasis and focus on increasing boundaries or spaces that provides more green space between the development and other properties. Thank you.
Right, Ms. Graham Hudak.
Thank you. I'd just like to make a comment about calling to the seniors. I did call, our team called 3,000 seniors also, and we're able to get them food. So I'm glad that we're working to help our seniors in this community and look forward to doing it some more. In terms of the development, I sit on the Planning Commission, and we do have a checklist that we go through, and we do really make sure that our developers do a lot for the community. Of course, we always push for more. That's important because what's important is that our the people in our community have the best green space, walkable community. That's important to us. That's one of our checklist things, that we make sure that people have sidewalks around the new development. And one thing that we still struggle with is traffic congestion. And I would like to see technology move forward to help with that. And I see that in our future.
All right, thank you. So the next question, this is question number 8, and Ms. Graham Hudak will go first. What actions to improve racial justice in Canton Township would you support?
Am I off mute? Yes. Okay, good. As chair of Plymouth Canton Citizen for Diversity and Inclusion in 2008, a priority was working as a community group with police, Michigan Roundtable, Canton's hate crime group actually formed as part of those actions. Our interfaith community group also works with public safety. So racial bias is communication and education, and that's really, really important. Unless we communicate and continually educate our population, whether it be in our schools, with our employees, with our public safety, with our fire, police, we cannot move forward without racial and cultural competence. So I think that we've done a great job for the past 12 years. We're ahead of the curve on a lot of issues, but I really think we need to continue that. So communication, education, and teach people about each other, gather together and see that we're all just people. And I really think that will continue.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Yep, we, as Anne Marie pointed out, Canton is absolutely a benchmark community when it comes to reaching out to various groups within Canton Township and ensuring that they are included. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock is the Canton Community Inclusion Council is meeting, which it represents all the various interfaith groups. Also, early on, or not early on, in the last 2 months or so, 3 months, we've had outreaches with the Jack and Jill parents through Plymouth Canton Community Schools, where public safety sat down with the Jack and Jill moms to discuss all their issues or concerns that they might have. There's very open dialogue, as well as NAACP and Conference of Western Wayne is working with Canton Township to develop and improve on programs, and education is a significant part of it to help all understand how we can do a better job. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to remind you both that we've gone through 8 questions and we'll have 8 questions more. So we're at the halfway mark. Thank you so far for your insightful comments. So question 9 will go to Mr. Williams first. Do you feel township officials communicate adequately with residents? If not, what would you do to improve communication?
The first thing I did when I came into office was I added my cell phone to my business card, and it's on the website as well. So anybody can literally call me 24 hours a day. Thankfully, most of the calls start about 7 a.m. and they end about 9 p.m. So me personally, I think it's unprecedented the degree of openness I have with communicating directly with the residents. On the next level, we have the Focus newsletter that goes out once a month, as well as social media. We've got a great communications team in Canton Township, and their focus is to do exactly that, communicate with the residents to let them know what is happening in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Graham-Hudak,
Would you repeat the question, please?
do you feel township officials communicate adequately with residents? If not, what would you do to improve communication?
To improve communication, I would like to use more electronic means of communication. I know that a lot of our residents, they don't read their mail. They say they basically just put it in the recycling bin. And while the Focus has a lot of information in it, I would like to see that go out electronically. I think that would help. Also, utilize an app. We do have an app, but I would like to see that expanded more. Our young people, that's what they use. They don't usually go home and read their Focus or their newspapers that their parents might have. So I'd like to see those apps expanded for our younger people to get them more involved. So using electronics a little bit more. Also, we've got a cable TV group in the back of our township. I would like to see that maybe used a little bit more on additional channels, maybe even putting that onto the website with communicating weekly. So people will know where to look and they can look at any time and pick up what they need.
Thank you. So the next question will be directed back to you, Ms. Graham-Hudak. What are the most important criteria the township should use in determining tax incentives to attract and keep our businesses growing and coming to our community?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question again? Sorry, here's a duck in the background here.
What are the most important criteria the township should use in determining tax incentives to attract and keep our businesses growing and coming to our community?
Number one, how it serves our residents. Will our residents benefit from that business being here? How many jobs will it offer our residents? What kind of product does it bring here? Does it add to the community or does it detract from the community? Does it add benefits such as maybe even bringing renewable energy into the community, some of the newer technologies of renewable energy? Does it offer maybe public-private educational partnerships, which are really important? So how can it work with the community in terms of what we already have and how it can help take us into the future? I like to see some startups come here. We have Spark in Ann Arbor. We have a lot of universities around us. So bring some entrepreneurs here so that we keep young people here. We still have a brain drain in Michigan and we need to find the way to keep people here. And so by bringing businesses here that will help keep our people here is the way I would like to see it. What can help people get jobs and stay in Michigan?
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Okay. First up is the tax incentives that Canton Township does use are very strictly, we adhere to the state guidelines on what we can and can't do and what incentives we can do. So it's not a subjective, could we, should we. The rule book says, and since they've taken away the personal property for business taxes, you've only got new construction that can be abated in terms of future taxes. The upside is I don't have to do anything to incentivize companies to come to Canton. They're knocking our doors down saying we want to come to Canton. And we do have a lot of new things that are on the horizon in the very near future. Thank you.
Thank you. This is question 11, and Mr. Williams will start. We have a growing diversity in our township. What can you do to integrate all residents into our township's government and civic life?
It's a great question. I think it's still this week, or maybe early next week. I've got Summer Foster, current trustee, and Trustee Snyderman coming in to sit down and review every open position for boards and commissions that exist. And they are going to go through and help select the best qualified candidates with me next week. And so within the entire process has been automated this year, where you go online and say, I'm interested in this commission or this appointment. People apply, and I can tell you that there is a diverse group that is applying in Canton, and a couple of the trustees are going to help me fill positions in the next several weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Graham-Hudak.
Repeat the question, please.
We have growing diversity in our township. What can you do to integrate all residents in our township's government and civic life?
So one of the most beautiful things about Canton is our diversity. So working to make our community more welcoming and inclusive has been one of my passions for many years, and I've been active at it for 25 years in our community. So this, to build community, we've obviously brought a lot of people onto our committees. We've expanded our planning commission so we could bring a more diverse group. We have asked for more people from the faith houses and the cultural organizations to have people come and work with us. And we also should always encourage people to run for office in this community. Our government should represent and reflect our citizenship. And that's one thing I've been trying hard to do, whether it was with the Plymouth Canton Citizens for Diversity and Inclusion or our ICO group. We should always try to reflect our residents, and I think we're on our way, and I'm pushing to do that even more.
All right, thank you. This is question 12, and Ms. Graham-Hudak will begin the response. How will you consider climate change and other environmental issues in economic development?
It's great that you asked this question. Governor Whitmer just announced today that Michigan is going to go carbon neutral by 2050. I'm a sustainability engineer right now at Ford, and that's also one of the goals of many corporations here. And so it's really important to integrate that in everything we do, whether it be the buildings that we create, they should be LEED certified. We should look at using renewable energy in every building that we do. We're going to be redoing Ford Road, and I've asked several times for conduit to be placed so we can integrate fiber optics or any other communications equipment to make it high tech. And that would help to reduce traffic at intersections, which would reduce congestion, which would reduce CO2 emissions into the air. So everything we do, it should go through the filter of climate action. And I will create a green sustainable committee just for that.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Just comes to mind almost immediately as we're sitting down with DTE to set up and create charging stations around the community, possibly Township Hall as well as the Summit. I know they're also working with private entities to do that, so to encourage the ability to have charging statements for those who want to move to electric vehicles. As far as the conduit runs with the new Ford Road bill, that will have the technology that Anne-Marie is requesting. We're trying to be mindful of where the future is going. And at the end of the day, the markets are going to drive us to what is sensible. Thank you.
Question 13, Mr. Williams will go first on this one. What police department reforms are necessary to make the department more responsive to the current racial tensions that exist in our country?
I think I may have already addressed it, but I'll reiterate. Our police department public safety team did sit down with the Jack and Jill moms. We are working closely with the NAACP, with the Conference of Western Wayne. Also, Chad Baugh has communicated to myself as well as the trustees a pretty significant training agenda and enhancements to that based on current events. Thank you.
Ms. Graham Hudak,
Thanks. Could you repeat the question, please?
what police department reforms are necessary to make the department more responsive to the current racial tensions that exist in our country?
I think we have gone through this since 2008. A priority is working as a community group with Michigan Roundtable, PCCDI. Since 2016, we've also created juvenile diversion programs with GrowthWorks with our police. Before I was elected official, I became a partner with our police to make sure that we started moving forward with policies, and we've come a long way. In December and a couple months ago, we reviewed the data on police stops and racial biasing. It's improved since we started in 2008. We admitted there that we still had a long way to go, and we're working together. And I mean, our police even worked with us on the peaceful protest. They put out a statement. I think Canton is a good place to live. We have great police and fire that have worked with us extensively on this, and they want to keep working, which makes it easy as a community member who this is important to, because they really have been working with us and they want to continue.
Thank you. So we have 3 more questions left. Ms. Graham Hudak will address this one first. What services would you like to see added for Canton residents if room opened up in the budget?
Some of the services I would like to see would be increasing recycling, maybe even seeing if we can do some recycling markets here. I'd like to start a green committee to work on that. Services, I would like to expand services of our transportation. We have internal transportation to Canton right now. It has limited hours. It's also only for people with disabilities and seniors, which is great. However, we have a lot of people in the township that still would like to have rides somewhere because they don't have vehicles. I would also like to see alternative means of transportation within Canton, like an electric bus going around and shuttling people who cannot get places. This would also help to reduce the CO2 emissions and help us with our green space. So just an expansion of really helping people get to where they need to go, outreach and making things accessible for people.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Okay, in terms of future services, each year, and it'll probably not be unique this year, whoever is the supervisor come November, early December, we'll sit down with the trustees, the incoming trustees, and say, okay, what is important to our community? What services do they believe they would like to see in place? And how can we deliver that? And then can we do that in a fiscally responsible way? So rather than me sharing with you, I think we've shared some things that are coming in terms of electric vehicle technology and getting ready for the future. In terms of specific services, it'll be future boards that will make those decisions. Thank you.
All right, second to the last question. Mr. Williams, you'll go first. Those running for your office, as well as other township offices, are either Republicans or Democrats. Please comment if partisan politics is an issue in township government.
First?
Yeah, Mr. Williams is first.
Okay, very good. I can tell you for the first 3.5 years, politics had not been injected into local Canton Township government operations. Sadly, it's creeped in the last couple of months, and it's hopefully election will come and go and things will settle back down to where they need to be, where everybody can focus on delivering services to the residents and our constituents in the very near future. Thank you.
Ms. Graham Hudak.
Yeah, sorry, could you repeat the question?
Those running for your office, as well as other township offices, are either Republican or Democrat. Please comment if partisan politics is an issue in township government.
I think that it has been, obviously not with everything, but with some issues it has been for 4 years. It hasn't stopped the board from being civil to each other in front of the cameras and working together. So I think that's only natural that you would see that with people who do not have, the same beliefs or the same goals in mind. But yes, it has been Obviously, sometimes I've been told to call somebody because they were one of mine rather than, us working across the aisle with state, federal, and local. But I don't think that's unusual. I mean, I think it's been better in our community than in other communities, but definitely it's been there. Yes.
All right, last question. And Ms. Graham Hudak will answer this one first. You both have been in township political field for a number of years. Are you doing anything to encourage new generations of leaders in our township? You're on mute, Ms. Hudak.
You have to read my lips. Yes, definitely. I work with a lot of young people in my campaign. I encourage them to be a part of the League of Women Voters, where I've been for 25 years. I mean, it's really important because, like you said, I work with my daughter and her friends. I've gone to speak to groups, like Girl Scout groups, about what it's like to run for office and what you need to do to run for office, the different steps, how you have to raise money, how you decide on your issues. I've done a number of those speeches. I've gone to schools and taught people. So I really believe that the young people will have to take over, obviously, because we can't be here forever. And I think it's really important to empower young people to see what they can do and how to make a change. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Williams.
I too, prior to the pandemic, was going to all the local schools, addressing the classrooms, and sharing with them, what is government and how they can get involved today at their level. And everything Anne Marie said is absolutely true. They are the future, right? Youth are the future. We need to get them engaged and involved at all levels. And the biggest challenge that we've had in terms, I would like to see get more youth involved in different boards and commissions, but we've got some internal policies that make that a little difficult, and we need to look at maybe as trustees relaxing some of those internal policies in the future. Get more young people involved in boards and commissions. Thank you.
Thank you. That ends our question and answer portion of the forum. So the only thing we have remaining are closing statements. And Mr. Williams, you will go first.
Thank you. I have really enjoyed the past 4 years. Would love to have the opportunity to go another 4 years. I do hope that, and I'm asking everybody that's watching this today, is please do vote for me on November 3rd or through your absentee ballot earlier. It's a really neat job, and I'd like to continue on doing it. This is a very brief discussion we've had today, and I think it's a good one. And I think there are a lot of areas where you see Anne Marie and I are aligned or in agreement. Some where there's a little diversion, but not a lot. To get more information about me and what I've done in the community, I do have a website, pat4canton.com, and I would encourage anybody to go take a look at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Graham Hudak. Oops, you're on mute again. Unmute yourself.
Trying to make you not hear these sounds outside. I want to thank the League of Women Voters again for doing the important work in holding this forum, especially as we celebrate 100 years of women's suffrage. Along the way, I've learned the lessons that only come from direct experience when you roll up your sleeves and work with your community. That most of us want the same things in life: honesty, empathy, diversity, and kindness, which makes the world better. And that the best leaders are followed, not feared, and listen to those they work with. As an engineer, I take analytical paths to solving many problems, but I'm also a very passionate person when it comes to ethics, fairness, and openness. I think this blend of objectivity and principle makes me both strong and unique in what Canton needs as a supervisor. As Michigan's 11th largest municipality, we have to stop living in the past and become leaders in 21st century technology. Technology that serves our residents, reduces traffic and congestion, and increases transportation options to keep residents safe. I'm looking forward to Governor Whitmer's recently announced mobility corridor, which is coming down Michigan Ave. This has exciting possibilities of bringing jobs, economic development, business, and educational partnerships, as well as technology to serve our residents into the future. We can do all of this, but we can't do it alone. It's going to take 21st century partnerships and grants, which I have experience with in my career. With suicide and opioids on the rise, it's more important now more than ever that we have good public safety partnerships. With my path of working with public safety and community organizations and trustee, I'm the right person to bring this about. As supervisor, I will strengthen the bonds that hold our diverse community together. I will make sure we hold elected officials accountable. I will prioritize accessibility by creating the first ever walkable community plan for Canton Township. What we build and what we leave for future generations must last. It is our obligation and our legacy. I hope you will support me in my vision to move Canton forward, and I hope to earn your vote on November 3rd. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Thank you to the League of Women Voters members who helped with this form. The form has been recorded and will soon be viewed on the League website at LWV Northwest Wayne. We also like to thank the candidates who are running for office. They are asking for your support as they seek a job in the public service sector, and we hope voters will listen to their views. We also appreciate the voters in Canton Township who are watching this forum to learn about their choices on November 3rd. Both of these candidates were also invited to participate in the League of Women Voters Voter Guide, a publication that you can access online by visiting vote411.org. By typing in your voting address, you can access all the races on your ballot, verify your voting registration status, and find your polling place. Again, that's vote411.org. Vote411.org. The print copy of the voter guide will be available in the public libraries the first week in October. Election day is November 3rd. If you are not registered to vote, you can do so through Election Day. Registration 10 days prior to Election Day
Hadley?
must be done at the office of your city or township clerk. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., but all registered voters can vote early by absentee ballot. Remember that you must fill out and return an absentee ballot application to your city or township clerk before a ballot can be mailed to you. If you need an absentee ballot application, contact your city or township clerk. This concludes our forum this evening. Thank you, candidates, for participating.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Night.
Thank you.